Alright, finally get to a point. Put the car in jack stands. Had a couple different ways I wanted to actually replace the rear section of this car. Could have done like the wood pillar boxes that you put cars up on. Put out pitch well, leave the front of the car attached to the rotisserie. Could have hung a bunch of stuff off the back for rotisserie. Use that to locate the frame rails, blah blah blah. But what I'm going to do is make a frame jig. Probably swing by, work. After work tomorrow, pick up the metal that I need and make the frame jig. But I will do that on the ground. That way I can level the car out on jack stands and get it, you know, right for me for when I want to replace everything. So yeah, so basically I'm going to lower this down, get it off the rotisserie, break down the rotisserie, shove it off in the corner. Yeah, making progress finally. I can't wait to actually get back on this and get the back cap done. So maybe hopefully later on this year I can actually start putting the front suspension and stuff back on it and do all the front sheet metal work and do the body lines and fix all that fun stuff. Alright, enjoy the time lapse. Alright, time lapse, I didn't show everything, but show me dropping it down. I mean, it's only was a minute and a half long or so time lapse. But yeah, there it is on 4 jack stands again. It's been since April of 2021. Last time I had this up on jack stands and somewhat working height. I had the levels on both sides. They're within like, I don't know, like a 30-second each other being level, front to back and left to right. So it gives me a pretty darn good starting point for replacing all this crap in the back here. Yeah, also had to do, I mean, I've got to move it around as more of that stuff comes off the back here. But sandblasters in there, well, 5 gallon of MS109 in there for the ATS batteries, some concrete, just to keep ballast in the car because it was a little light in the front end. But as I take more stuff off the back end, I'll rearrange the stuff and probably put in the middle to keep everything weighted down. Alright, there we go. Alright, so while I'm waiting for some stuff to come in, I went ahead and took measurements along a bunch of points here. So I know when I go put stuff back in, I can actually get back at the same spot. So like down here is 43 1/4, 43 1/8, which is, you know, 60 thousandths of an inch width difference from here to the other side. I might be able to make that up a little tighter when I go put the new quarters on, so I can have the lines a little bit straighter. Up here it's 45 5/16 or 3/125, and up here from this inside lip here to over across is 49 1/16 or 0.0625. And it's the same thing for down here in the trunk. Measure from that edge right there to that edge up there, because I know when I go do the tail panel, the upper deck panel there won't be out yet. We'll see. So I think I'm going to do the tail panel along with the back section, along with the trunk floor and the frame rails and all. So I get this located to the quarters, that way I know it's centered, original spot where it was at, and then cut the quarters off. But anyways, yeah, that's why I did that. That's right. So then once the quarters comes off, I can do this piece up here, and then also gave myself a reference point up there, down to that little bump there, and that's 24 1/4 distance. And then I gave myself some measurements for the trunk edges and stuff, which I'm actually probably just gonna weld pieces of angle to them And that way I can locate it back to the new trunk filler there. Alright. Alright, a day later, finally the frame rail showed up. Left side, driver's side, and all the steel that I bought to make a frame or a locating jig so I can actually get everything back right for the car. Because I'm going to build it off the car. Believe it or not, the car is actually fairly straight. Just really rusty. Starting to make some cool stuff down here. For the back spring pocket, or the spring pocket, where the leaf spring pivot point hangs out in the back, I making this, let's see here, let's make it brighter. There we go. Make it a little clamp, so I know where the leaf spring hanger goes in the back, where the rubber bushing or poly bushing goes in the back there. So when I go put it, make the framework, the jig, I'm gonna have a piece of steel coming up here, up on an angle. That way it locates it that way, and like kind of like a U coming up. And this also is going to give me a tie down, so I can clamp it into place and hold it back in position. And did the same thing on the other side over there. The idea is going to be try to find some good points under the car. I'm going to use some holes up there for where the fuel lines go. Not really sure. I may just actually come back up in here and just do a U, lock it in place, bring it down. Piece of that 1x tubing that I have over there, and just kind of build a frame out of it. Probably won't show all that on camera, but we shall see. I mean, I'll show the highlight points, but that's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be a point coming down here. I think a point coming up from here in the middle somewhere where it's kind of in the open. Bring it down, because this is coming off where the shock tower bracket is, because for the mini tubs, all that's going to be cut out. So I'm going to cut all that shit out. But I can probably actually use these holes here, because that's where the bump stock goes. We'll see. Really decided it actually might be a good idea to actually use that one hole there. Not sure. Alright, let me get back to thinking and figuring. Take note too that I did spend some time on leveling the car. It's pretty close for what it is. I mean, it's only, that's subjective. Half a bubble, I think eighth bubble there. And along the rockers, I used my 4-foot level and my 2-footer to also get it. And oops, let's on the other side. There it is. Let's see here. So you guys get that in there. And spent time. Alright, how do you putting the subframe back in the front? I gotta take a measurement. Come to find out, the back part of the car, the jig I just made, off camera I took a bunch of measurements on the floor. I did a plumb bob, dropped down, made marks on the floor of the location points on the drawing that I had that shows all the lengths and the widths and all that stuff to make sure the car is square. Come to find out, the floor pan is about 1/4 inch off in a couple spots. Not in location in the car, but for where the torque boxes and all are. But that's like within like factory tolerances. Problem is, the jig I made, I put the new frame rails on it, and I'll show that hopefully after this. That it didn't line up right. It was like almost an inch off in one direction. But when I put it, like I said before in the previous segment, have a couple holes in the front, or they're pass-throughs on the frame rails for like fill line clips, brake line clips that are on the factory torque boxes. And so when I put the frame rails located off of those holes from the forward position, the frame rails on that little jig I made actually work out perfect. So I need to check one measurement on here, and there's a hole in the front of the subframe here and measure back. They'll actually tell me, hopefully, that I'll be pretty close to where I am. Anyway, enjoy the show while I put the rest of the way in. Oh. Alright, that's what I was talking about. Dropping a line from the cam member down. It shows on the datum drawing. That goes to the back side of the hole, drop it down. There it goes. And come over here and measure. It's got to be within, it's kind of weird because if you look at the datum drawing, there's like an arc on the drawing. And it's not point to point, it gives you a good idea. And if we go with the arc, alright, so it's actually just off the arc a little bit there, and it's right on 93 inches, 93 1/8, somewhere around there, which is right in the realm of reality. Cool. So I know from the spring pockets forward on the car are good. So that tells me, yeah, the back is all completely screwed up on the car. All right, so you know what that means? I get to square everything up. Yeah, well, at least now you watch me take a time lapse of taking off the front subframe here. So after taking the front subframe out, I went ahead the next day, cut all the rear of this car out, start loading some stuff, and well, things aren't going as planned. Next video, you'll get to see me try to figure out what's up with that frame rail. Yay, problems, who would have thought. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Drunken Turbo.